Hi there, it's Jaya, New World Sex Educator, creator of the art of female self-pleasuring. I'm a somatic sexologist, and this is day number 66 of my 101 days of self-pleasure. So it has been quite a week of really being in my head, really being stuck in this sort of place of these late night sessions. Today I was in a workshop with Michelle O'Dent. Those of you who are in the birthing community know him. He does a lot of research on oxytocin. He wrote a great book called The Scientification of Love. He also has a book on orgasm and how orgasm and birth are very, very tied together. So some really fascinating information. But a lot of the lecture was about oxytocin, synthetic oxytocin versus natural oxytocin, and also about adrenaline and how adrenaline actually gets into the receptor sites for oxytocin. Those of you who don't know what oxytocin is, it's the bonding and love chemical, but it also helps us have orgasms. On a mechanical level, it really helps that, and it helps with the letdown of milk, the ejection reflex when you're lactating or breastfeeding. So the love bonding chemical, and what's interesting is that when adrenaline gets in there, you can't uptake your oxytocin. It doesn't get into the brain, which is what's responsible for the behavioral and the mechanical functions of oxytocin. So I decided to play with this, and I didn't even really know that I was playing with this until I started noticing what was happening in the environment around me as I was making love with my partner. So here we are. The baby went to bed early, and we were in his office and just kind of deciding, well, let's go ahead and play around with this and see where it leads us. And we were kind of laughing because we didn't want things to lead up to where things had been. If you watched my days 60 and 61, you heard about my not so great sex experience. And we were kind of in this place of like not wanting to recreate it and get past it. But we were both completely in our head and both just in this, and we didn't set up the environment. And I was kind of experimenting like in my head with, okay, here's an environment now that I know all this stuff about adrenaline and oxytocin where we've got computers all around us. There's kind of this feeling of like being observed, like we don't really have privacy. There were bright lights, and bright lights totally stimulate the neocortex, which is the thinking brain. And we weren't comfortable. We were like on a hard floor. So there were all these factors that were weighing into kind of keeping us sort of in an adrenaline, lot of mind thinking state. And so we just got to the point where we just couldn't even do it anymore. And we were cracking up. We were laughing so hard because like, what is the matter with us? Even sex educators get in a sex funk every now and then. I've definitely been in one this week. And so anyway, I decided, I told him, I said, I'm going to go off in self-pleasure now because I wanted to do an experiment and set up an oxytocin state where I could really like notice the difference between the opposite. So I went up to the love loft where it was completely dark. So one thing, it was dark. And darkness can help shut off the neocortex and shut off sort of the adrenaline state, and also dilates the pupils, which if you know anything about sphincters in the body, when one sphincter dilates, the others dilate. So they're all sort of connected. And so anyway, that helps kind of open you up more since there are sphincters in the pelvic floor. I can go on and on about the science of all this, but anyway, so ended up having a great pleasure session with myself. I went into repetitive breathing. Repetition helps you also get out of the neocortex and into sort of this oxytocin state. So just having the same pattern with my breathing over and over again, doing touch all over my body, and then going into clitoral stimulation. I had an orgasm really, really quick, which was great because I haven't had a lot of them this week, and I like to have my orgasms. I think everyone should have at least an orgasm a day. So this has been my day, and really great to notice the difference between having an environment where there's a lot of adrenaline stimulation and having an environment where you can really go deep into your oxytocin state. Enjoyed it. I'll be reporting to you tomorrow. Make sure you send me your homework and your comments, 101daysofpleasure.com or my site, newworldsexeducation.com. See you tomorrow.